Hey guys and welcome back, it's Persix and today I've got the One Piece chapter 1064 to discuss. Now, before I get into this video, I want you guys to drop a like and drop a comment down below and tell me your thoughts on One Piece chapter 1064. Tell me your thoughts on how you think this chapter's gone, because this is a hell of a chapter, I'll be honest, because I want to start off with the cover page, because the last cover page we saw that it was Pudding who was kidnapped, and we originally thought she was kidnapped by the German, but it turns out she's in fact captured by the fucking Blackbeard pirates. We see Aokiji and Van Orga there, and they're the ones who managed to take out the German whilst they were attacking Whole Cake Island and kidnap Pudding. Now, like they already mentioned in the chapter that they're holding Pudding hostage, but I do believe that Blackbeard is trying to keep Pudding hostage and use her third eye ability in order to read the poneglyphs. Now, you guys can tell me your thoughts on it. But in this chapter, we see when this gets animated, this is gonna be hyped, because the chapter starts off with Blackbeard fighting against the HeartPirates, and we see that Law, he's showing us why he's at that Yonko rank, because let's not forget Blackbeard is riding Stronger, Doc Q's horse, which also has the mythical zone Pegasus fruit. Now we see that Law use one of his awakening abilities, Reroom Amputate, and he manages to slice Stronger in half whilst Blackbeard is still on top of this horse. So the Blackbeard is falling towards the sea. So it seems like Blackbeard is falling towards the sea. And Blackbeard even mentions like, "Yo, I didn't know your powers I didn't know your powers could do that. That must be an awakening technique. Am I right?" Now, and again, this makes sense because we know Blackbeard. He's a person who has the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, so he's obviously studied a lot of the Devil Fruits that are out in the world, so he knows the basic abilities of Law's Oppi Oppi no Mi. In this conflict, whilst Blackbeard is falling towards the sea, he uses an ability called Tremor Crush, and it's actually really inventive the way he's done it, because in the first shot we do see that he is like over. Like I said, it is really inventive because Blackbeard has managed to use his Tremor Fruit in order to knock himself towards the island so he doesn't fall into the sea, and I think that is a really cool and inventive way he's using his fruit. Now Law, he tells Hakun, who knows he's the guy with the mask in his crew, he tells him to take the polytank and he also tells Such and Penguin to get into the sea. And Blackbeard even mentions like, "Yo, Doc Q, are you dead?" He's like, and Doc Q, because Doc Q is still on top of Stronger, and Blackbeard is sitting on top of them, not sitting on top, but Stronger is falling. And Doc Q says to him, "Damn it, are you dead?" And it's like, "Yo, too bad, you were a good horse." And because now we see that Doc Q's poisonous apples that he normally has, the exploding apples, they fall out. They obviously fall off of Doc Q and they come raining down towards the battlefield on top of the HeartPirates. But this is where we see Sachi pop his head out of the water, because remember, Sachi doesn't have a Devil Fruit, so Sachi's jumped into the sea, come back out, and then blown this huge gust of water back towards Doc Q and Blackbeard as they're falling midair. And the explosion does manage to hit Doc Q, because we see the explosion and it seems like there's three figures. It seems like Doc Q does get hit. He takes the brunt of that attack, and Sachi even mentions like, "Yo, you don't fuck with people who grew up in the frigid North Blue." Because I do like this chapter, because a lot of people, again, they were against Law, the HeartPirates, against the Blackbeard Pirates. They thought they were going to get decimated, but we do see a lot of their skills coming out. Like, they do mention, "You won't beat us in the sea battle," and they have members of the HeartPirates underwater going towards Blackbeard's main ship to attack it. And Beppo does shout out to John Bart, "Be careful, there's a sniper at 3 o'clock." So we see that the team is really well organized and coordinated. John Bart, obviously, he says, "Protect the captain, I've got him." So he jumps behind Law, so they're back to back, but he's protecting him from the sniper shot of Van Orga. Even Van Orga says that is a tough guard to break. So I'm guessing maybe he wasn't using hockey at that moment, but maybe the next few shots will. Yo, and now Blackbeard's managed to land. He's managed to land on the island, so he never fell into the sea. He's on the island, and he's going up against Trafalgar Law, and Trafalgar Law uses another one of his awakening abilities, Shock Willy, and pierces Blackbeard. And Van Orga says this is what happens when you charge into a battle without a plan. So again, we've seen this like dissimilarities between him and Luffy, how they're both very headstrong, rushing and just punch and swing until the enemy drops to the floor. And Van Orga uses his warp fruit in order to get the captain, in order to regroup with the captain. And he even says, shall we return to the ship? And Blackbeard, we know Blackbeard isn't going to retreat. And he's like, no, we have to stay. No, you fool. We're going to stay on the fucking offensive. This isn't over yet. I've took like one or two hits. This is not over. I'm fucking Blackbeard. And I do like I do like the conversation between him and Law, because Law mentions like I fought and everyone else has fought. All of Blackbeard's crew members have devil fruits, or at least a large majority of them. All of his commanders, all of his top tier fighters all have devil fruits, so they all share the same weakness. And Blackbeard does mention that, nah, the benefits are worth the risk, trust me. And based on the devil fruits he has right now, he's 100% correct. I can't actually foul him right now, because who can really take him on? I mean, you guys comment down below and tell me how you think Blackbeard, who in the One Piece world right now could currently take down Blackbeard and the Blackbeard Pirates at their full strength with all the devil fruits they have. I do want to also mention, because Q mentioned, are you dead stronger? And it seems like that Stronger he responds or says like, maybe they have some sort of connection, and Stronger says essentially, yes, I'm dying, or communicates with him subconsciously some way that he's dying. And this is at the beginning of the chapter when the apple's falling. So if Stronger's dead, where is this fruit going to reincarnate? Because there's a bunch of exploding apples. Remember, not all of those apples that Q has are poisonous. Maybe one or two in that bunch is a normal apple. So maybe Stronger's fruit is going to be reincarnated, and a member of Law's crew is going to get that. Maybe it'll be Sachi, Penguin, maybe Beppo, or even John Bart. Because yeah, we don't even get a conclusion to this fight at the end of this chapter. And also this attack on the Blackbeard ship is still happening, and we pan to see Charlotte Pudding, and again she's in a cage on the Blackbeard ship, and she's like, once my mom if my mom's still alive, you won't be laughing like this much longer, guys. One of the pirates on Blackbeard's crew again is some no-name guard. Is like, haha, well, the guy we're fighting is the one who killed Big Mom. But again, we haven't seen Big Mom or Kylo return to the series yet. The prevailing theory is that they're dead, but I don't believe that they're dead. I believe that they're going to show up again in the final war. In the final war between the Straw Hats and everyone else, when the Straw Hats finally get to Laugh Tale and acquire the One Piece. And again, there's another comment like from the Blackbeard Pirates. They're like, I didn't know they were good at fighting in the water. And this just goes to show the nature of the Blackbeard crew, how they're not thinkers, they're not strategists. They won't sit there and think like, okay, we're going up against Law, he's got the Oppie no Mi, which means he's going to be able to do this, and this. They don't think, Blackbeard doesn't think like that. Especially, I think it would be good if it was like a tag team, Blackbeard and Van Orga, because Van Orga has the warp fruit, which essentially is not a hard counter to Law's Oppie no Mi, but it has one of Law's main abilities where he's able to switch places with people. So with Van Orga assisting Blackbeard, I think Blackbeard could take out Law. Is that too divisive? You guys tell me your thoughts. But we see Law attack Blackbeard again. He's attacking Blackbeard with a Shock Willy attack, and Blackbeard is using his black vortex in order to nullify Law's devil fruit. And the chapter does stop, and the chapter does pan over to Sakazuki, where he finds out about the information that Law and Blackbeard are going at it in the new world, and we know Sakazuki's the fleet admiral, so there's nothing he can do. He has to stay where he is because he's got other duties. Now back at the future island of Egghead, we see that the police pacifista is still looking for Luffy, Bonnie, Chopper, and Jinbei. Now this is cool because what Bonnie's done, she's used her devil fruit to age everyone. She has aged herself and Jinbei to be younger, whilst Luffy and Chopper have both been aged up to like both age 70. And I don't know if anyone else has seen that One Piece OBS, the One Piece SBS, where Oda draws the Straw Hats at different ages, like in alternate timelines. Like depending on if the story gets a good ending or bad ending, but we see Luffy and Chopper's bad ending see Chopper and Luffy's bad ending, future selves basically. And this is where we get a bit more information on what happened with Jinbei, not with Jinbei. And this is where we find out more information on what happened with Kuma and Vegapunk. Because Jinbei mentions, like, I remember Kuma being a tyrant of the Sorbet Kingdom, an evil person, until the people drove him off and he became a pirate. And Jinbei basically runs through the whole story of Kuma, where after he left the island because the people on his island had pushed him away, became a pirate, then became a member of the Revolutionary Army. We don't know how or when he met Dragon, how long it was after he left his home kingdom of the Sorbet Kingdom. And then the Navy captured him at some point and then sent him into life in prison. But then Vegapunk became enamored with his physique and his latent abilities. I'm thinking he might mean hockey, or maybe Kuma has a special type of body where he can handle more than one devil fruit. I don't know. This is just me theorizing. And so we know that Kuma received body augmentation and his body was now cloned. So the pacifistas are clones of Kuma, but I guess like the Germa, they had all their individuality stripped from them, so they just serve a basic function of whatever Vegapunk or the world government want them to do, which is really fucked up when you think about it. Like, to be cloned, to imagine having a clone of yourself and then that clone has no semblance of its own, has no autonomy and is just there to like cut trees and pick up rubbish, has no other dreams, no desires. It's essentially hell for these pacifistas, but we don't know if these pacifistas have the same memories as Kuma. Are they buried somewhere because they're clones? Will that be innate to them? It's not mentioned, but Jinbei does say that because Vegapunk took part in the body augmentation and clone development, he was allowed to return back to his kingdom. He was allowed to return to freedom as a warlord of the sea. So he wasn't able to return back to the Sorbet Kingdom, but he was now free to travel the seas as a warlord. And Bonnie says, that sentence might as well be death, being turned into a cyborg, as well as everything else that my father had to go through. She says, who would take that type of deal if they knew the consequences of it? But I think Kuma did, but he had certain parameters set in place that Vegapunk adhered to, such as when he protected the Sunny for 2 years whilst the Straw Hats were separated. Now, if he lost all semblance of his humanity, I don't believe he would have done that. So again, there's more we still haven't found out about Vegapunk and his connection with Kuma. But Jinbei Jinbei even mentioned, like, yo, it's a hard price to pay. It's a hard price to pay. Life in prison. It's a heavy sentence. And she asks how many crimes did the tyrant commit, and Barney flips out because during this whole interaction, she's managed to find some sort of a sword hilt, and she's messing around with it, and she's managed to ignite it, and it's produced like this laser beam, which in my theory, in my personal opinion, is to do with Kizaru's fruit, maybe again because Vegapunk's already managed to incorporate laser beams into the pacifistas. So I believe he studied Kizaru's fruit and all the fruits of the admirals in the world government and navy. Because remember, Bonnie lashes out when Jinbei says this, and she says like, my father's not a tyrant. The world government forced him to do this. He forced him to be experimented on. He wouldn't do this willingly. And she also mentions that her father was from a special people, but he never said what. Now, obviously, this has to mean that Kuma is a member of the D family, and by extension, that would make Bonnie a member of the D clan as well. But again, it's not being confirmed yet, but that's what I'm going with. My father was from a special people, either that or Lunarian, but he doesn't look like a Lunarian, so I don't believe he's one of them. And now for the last few pages of the chapter, we see the Team Sunny. So basically everyone else except for Jinbei, Luffy and Chopper on the Straw Hat crew are on the giant robot, the Vega Force 1, and they're literally hurtling through the sky whilst this giant robot is carrying the Sunny like it's nothing, like it's a toy ship. And whilst they're flying up, we do see that the Straw Hats are enamored by the view and everything that they see down below on the factory floor, essentially where Luffy and Bonnie is. And even Frankie mentions like, what's the deal with this futuristic city? And Lilith says like, yo, that's correct. This is the island where we build the future. Because they mention the Vega Force Punk, in order for it to get up here, it uses jet boost as a propulsion, and it floats using anti-gravity. Another creation of the Vegapunks, basically. So they've got anti-gravity on this island. I can't wait to see what upgrades the Straw Hats are going to get, because they are going to the main research lab in order to get upgrades for all of their equipment and whatnot. Again, I don't believe Zoro is going to get anything, because we do see him, he does stay with the ship, he stays on the ship watch, and so does Brook. And now once they finally land on the main, it's on a sky island, I should mention that as well, because it's all situated on a giant sky island, or they've managed to recreate the sky islands, and the main research facility is on top of that. So once they land on there, Lilith gives them Lilith does give them these research suits that they have to wear whilst they enter, I guess, in order to sterilize them, so they don't bring in any outside germs that could contaminate any experiments that they got going on in there. And again, these outfits all look cool. They've all got these nice, cool, futuristic outfits, except for Sanji, because for some reason he's got a Hawaiian shirt on. I'm not sure why. Like, him and Jinbei both got the Hawaiian shirt combos. I'm not sure on the reason why. Maybe theirs was set to tropical by mistake. But the final bit of the chapter is when we hear a brief conversation between Vegapunk and someone else, and verbatim he says, being a genius means being able to see what your own future contains. And the mysterious person who we don't see says, what do you mean, Vegapunk? And he says, I suspect that my death is imminent. Stop telling bad jokes, they're not funny. So I wanted you to hear me out, Dragon. Because we see Vegapunk 1, we see Vegapunk the satellite Shocker. Yeah, because we do see Shocker, one of the satellites, not the main Vegapunk, but one of the Vegapunk satellites, Shocker, talking. And so Shocker's aware that the world government are sending people after him, or after them, to take them all out. They may not be aware that they're coming right now, but they know it's soon. So maybe maybe they've got some sort of, well, actually, I'm an idiot because they've got the because whilst reading the other chapters beforehand to get an idea, I realised that they've got one of the pacifistas with them. So why wouldn't it have some sort of audio recording device where Vegapunk knows? So that could be a possible theory on how Vegapunk's aware of this because it makes sense. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he do something like that? Why wouldn't he put recording equipment inside his pacifistas so he can hear and know what's going on in the world government? But that's the end of the chapter, guys. You guys need to tell me your thoughts on One Piece chapter 1064 because I don't know what else to say. But I don't know what else to say about this chapter. Law versus Blackbeard has been great so far. Apparently, Strong is dead, so now his devil fruit is going to be in circulation. Who do you think is going to get that devil fruit? Pudding's been kidnapped by the Blackbeard pirates, and she's been used as leverage, as leverage against Big Mom to get one of her road poneglyphs. Yeah, you guys tell me your thoughts on anything that's been going on in this chapter. How do you think Law versus Blackbeard is going to turn out? I personally have high hopes for Law because he's one of my favorite characters. I love his design. I love the way his character's personality is, and his devil fruit. Everything about Law is like top tier, is S tier for me. But you guys tell me your thoughts. I'm 36 COF. This has been chapter 1064 of One Piece. You guys keep it fresh and keep it funky. Goodbye.